Don't settle for a fake snarler when you can have Beard Brothers' premium range of all-natural sausages. Proudly New Zealand made, you'll find them fresh in your local Foursquare, New World and Pack and Save. Beard Brothers, crafted with care, the old school way.
Wardley's a bit of an anomaly. He only began his boxing journey at the age of 20, whereas Joe, of course, has had a notable amateur career here in New Zealand before turning professional in 2012, and he went on to become New Zealand's first heavyweight to win a world title. Now, while I may sound like I know quite a bit, I actually really know nothing. So let's get in the professional, eh? Dean Lonergan, former boxing promoter, joins me. Dino!
How are you, Pineapple?
Was that quite impressive, my little ramble?
It was. You've stolen my thunder.
No. You've got a lot still to give, Dean. Am I correct in saying, though, that Fabio, was that a bit of a giggle at his name? He's British, by the way, isn't he? Fabio Wardley. He's a bit of a wild card, is he not?
This is not a fight, Pineapple. This is a destruction. You hit on it. Wardley had 4 fights in white-collar boxing as an amateur only, and he took it up late, as you said. He's only had 19 professional fights. He's had 1 loss in there. And I watched him fight a guy I know very well in his last fight called Justice Hooney. Now, Justice Hooney is a supreme boxer, but he hasn't got the world's hardest punch, and he hasn't got the world's greatest chin. Hooney took that fight on very short notice, 3 weeks' notice, because who Wardley was supposed to fight actually pulled out. Now, Hooney, when he took the fight, was 120 kilos, stripped off 10, got to 110. Over the course of 10 rounds, Hooney beat the flying heck out of Wardley. There was discussion on the commentary that they should stop the fight because Wardley has no answers for what Justice brought. Now, what happened was in the last round, I think it was a 10-round fight, in the last round, Justice got sloppy because he wasn't fit for the fight. He took it at late notice, in return for a big payday. Wardley got lucky, hits him on the chin and knocks him out.
Oh.
Now, there's 2 things about Hooney. One, he is a supreme boxer, but he doesn't hit very hard, and he hasn't got the world's greatest chin because about 5 years ago, he got picked up on a night out when he's out with his mates and dropped on his head, and I believe that's led to him not having the greatest chin on the planet. Because when you get knocked out, the more you get knocked out, the easier it is to get knocked out. Now, Joseph Parker had about 95 to 100 fights as an amateur, fought Russians, fought Cubans, fought all over the world. As a pro, Joe has now had, I think, 38 fights. So he's far more experienced than Wardley. Joe's got a great chin. He hits very, very hard. This is not a fight. It's a one-way destruction. Joseph Parker wins this inside 8 rounds. And Joseph, I believe, he's favourite across the world, as he should be. Wardley, this is a great, great, great fight for Joe Parker. And from what I've seen, Usyk has come out and said he'll take on the winner of this because this is at the O2 Arena. It holds 22,000 people. It's been well promoted by Frank Warren on Sky TV in England. Joe's been making a lot of headlines around the world with this fight. But I personally think it's going to be an absolute destruction. And the reason why Joe will probably get Usyk after this now, Usyk is not a great fight for Joe because Usyk is incredibly good as the undisputed heavyweight champ of the world, but he's a southpaw. And Joe, to a large degree, hasn't fought a lot of southpaws along the way. But let's not worry about that fight now because that's irrelevant. The most important thing is fight in front of us, and I believe Joseph Parker walks away with a knockout on his record, and he's going to do it in a sweat.
Wow. He also, I've heard a couple of interviews with Joe as well, Dino, and I mean, he's 33 now. He's looking great. He says he's in the best shape of his life. So, he's bubbling along nicely, isn't he?
To be fair, Pineapple, all boxers say that all the time, regardless of what shape they're in, because they all think they're in the... But looking at Joe, he looks very lean, he looks very strong, and he's had a full camp. And I've got, boxing is a game of confidence. More than any other sportsman, you've got to go in there with confidence because you do one of 2 things. You hit or you get hit. And if you get hit more often than you do the hitting, you're going to get hurt. So you've got to have supreme confidence. So obviously he's got that. Mate, you just got to look at the way he looks. He looks strong. He looks fit. I like I said, I don't think there's anyone in the world that Wardley can match it with Joe. And this is a superb to matchmaking and a superb piece of promotion. And it's a great way to position Joe for the unified heavyweight title of the world, which is what Alexander Usyk has. Now, Joe will be by far the only person, I think, in Australasia, maybe even the Southern Hemisphere, if he was to get Usyk and beat him. I think he'd be about the only one ever for Southern Hemisphere to hold that unified title. So, and mate, I can tell you this, Pineapple, Joe's payday should he fight Usyk, and this would be cheap. Joe would probably get minimum 20 to 30 million US. Usyk would probably be on anywhere from 80 to 100 million, maybe more. It depends on where the fight is. But the Saudis pay enormous money.
Yeah. So he knocks out Wardley. Let's just say he does that. Is the next step guaranteed Usyk or not? Will there be boxes between then? There are no guarantees.
Look, there are no guarantees. No, the only thing that's going to there's only one thing that matters for the next fight. What does Alexander Usyk want to do, mate? He's in control. He's the most famous boxer on the planet at the moment. You got to see some of his social media. He's incredibly, he's intelligent. He's funny. He's a really cool dude. He's Ukrainian, and he's got this really interesting, different way of speaking. And of course, him and Joe, they've both got gaps in their front teeth, and I've seen them talking on social media. Be sort of the fight of the gaps, which is quite interesting. But both of them are good-looking men, both smart men. Joe's become fantastic on social media, and they do some really cool stuff, with his dancing and what have you. So, mate, I think this is probably the most seminal moment. This fight will be one of the biggest fights in New Zealand boxing history, with the exception of one, Joe Parker's win over what was the Mexican against the Fat Mexican? Just say Joe's win over the Fat Mexican to win the WBO heavyweight champ of the world. Of course, Joe's fight against Anthony Joshua, David Tua's fight against Lennox Lewis, which was massive in New Zealand, had massive ratings. So, there's been some good publicity coming through, and, mate, I think there's no way Joe gets beat on the weekend. Joe's going to have COVID, have 2 arms and 2 legs chopped off, and go in the ring just headbutting him, my opinion, to lose.
Hey, so I've got a text has come in saying Usyk is a fighter of a generation. I can't see Joe or anyone else beating him.
I would say that, and I hate to, I'd never like to say Joe Parker's going to the fight's going to lose. All I'd say is this: Usyk might be the greatest southpaw that ever lived at heavyweight level, and he's an incredibly good fighter. Joe, throughout his career, I think, has only fought 2 southpaws, one early on, and I think that was in Samoa, and the other one was Zhilei Zhang, and Joe got dropped, I think, a couple of times in that fight because of the different angles that southpaw fight with, but Joe did incredible to come back and beat Zhang. Usyk is an incredibly good fighter, and that would be an incredibly hard fight for Joe. But what Joe Parker has said from day one, I'll fight anyone, anytime. And if you have a look at the guys he's fought, from Zhilei Zhang through to Joe Joyce, through to Derek Chisora, obviously the Fat Mexican, who Andy Ruiz, who is not, mate, he's a very good
Andy Ruiz.
boxer. Yeah,
you remember?
That's my days of playing. That's my days of playing rugby league, Pineapple. I think I'm starting to forget things just quietly.
That is Andy Ruiz.
So it's fair to say Joe Parker's in for a great period of his career. If he does get to fight Usyk, it'll be by far and away the biggest payday of his career. And, mate, it's like everyone, it'll be a very tough fight for Joe. But, mate, Usyk at that stage will be 39 years of age. And Joe at 33 is in his prime. Usyk's coming down from his prime. So, mate, who knows? I'd love to see Joe get it. I'd love to see him win.
Oh, gosh, yes. Hey, I don't know if you've seen this. And on Netflix, I texted you about it and you didn't come back to me. I was wondering if you didn't like them. Matchroom, The Greatest Showman, the story of Barry and Eddie Hearn.
I've had.
Don't settle for a fake snarler when you can have Beard Brothers' premium range of all-natural sausages. Proudly New Zealand made, you'll find them fresh in your local Foursquare, New World and Pack and Save. Beard Brothers, crafted with care the old school way.